Okay, we're going to try this, and I got to see if it's working or not, but we're going to try live draft commentary while the draft is going on from yours truly. I'm hoping that this is working. I've got to check the stream to see if my sound is good. Hopefully it is. If not, I'll have to check the stream. Okay, it is good. All right. So we're in business. I'll share this out. And if you guys want to listen along and hear me cuss as players that I like get selected, then feel free to do so. If not, you can focus on your own draft boards and do that. But we are 2 minutes away from the draft, season 2 draft. And while we only have 25 people in the league with 7 open teams, I have been pleased at the off-season activity. Namely, some of you jerks that are taking my free agent signings that I worked diligently in scouting that would fit my scheme, and then they're gone off my team and someone else has taken them and put them on their team. And I remember who you are. I'm not going to name names, although I should. But anyways, so we've got 1 minute before the draft starts. I hope everyone has done their homework and they've got their draft boards lined up. If they're not here, just as a reminder, if you are watching while we're doing this live, there's no time limit on first round picks. Madden 22 is pretty good at moving things along for CPU teams, so I'll just kind of let that go. And then in the second round, we start the 1 minute time limit. And then we, kind of speed things up and go from there. We do all 7 rounds. And then, of course, after the draft, I'll come back and I'll do the post-draft show. And then we'll do our preseason advances. I might shorten it. We may go every 10 minutes. We'll see. I don't think we need that much time. Everyone's kind of got their stuff lined up now. You don't really have to practice, so we can shorten those advanced times. We may even go 5 minutes. And then at week 4 of the preseason, we'll stop. We'll let the guys that didn't draft or they have something to do and they left early, we'll let them set their rosters, set their practice squads in week 4 preseason. And tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we'll advance to the regular season. And then we'll go from there and start season 3. But it is 8 o'clock. So we are going to start the NFL draft. And I wish everybody good luck. And the Steelers are on the clock. CPU team. They have been mocking the quarterback, the top 5 guy. I forget his name. But that is the guy that they've been mocking the most to them. We'll see who they go with, and it will probably be that guy since it's a CPU team. And there he is, Addison Thomas, the number 1 pick from Iowa State, was mocked in them pretty much from mock draft 3 on forward. Of course, we can't see what he looks like, but very good player in the scouting process if you looked at quarterbacks. And there's the first storyline player. So let me give you a little background because I did not do the written storylines this year. But Safe Haven, cornerback from Florida State. There was a clue in the name with Safe Haven, and we see the next pick coming off the clock, but let me finish with Safe Haven. It's a safe pick. Safe Haven was probably the most sure thing in this draft class this year. I will tell you, Seahawks owner, you may not be listening, but I would look at him on both sides of the ball. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Safe Haven is a hell of an athlete. He's got a lot of skills. He's a really good corner, but he may be better somewhere else. So keep that in mind, Seahawks. And we saw the star receiver Whitfield come off for the Titans. He looked to be pretty good if you scattered receivers throughout the process. And then we saw the linebacker David Ball just come off the board. Picks are coming fast. Falcons just picked left tackle Joey Alvarado. He was a really good lineman. He was top 5 throughout the whole process. He was pretty much mocked to the Falcons the whole time. He does end up going there. And then another quarterback comes off the board, and Larry Palmer to the Saints. Another guy that was pretty much mocked all the way to the Saints throughout the mock draft process. You look at quarterbacks, he's a pocket guy, strong arm. He's going to be a really good player. You guys that are watching in the draft chat, hey, we got to post them pictures, guys. I know there hasn't been many user picks that have been taken, but we need to post those pictures. Vernon Morrison, defensive end from Toledo, taken from the Texans. I will say, doing some scouting, this was a very strong defensive line draft. So the Raiders moving up, taking the Lions, picking to take Chris Rainey, the quarterback from Ohio State. Rainey is one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, going through the scouting process. A scrambling type of quarterback. The Raiders let Derek Carr let him go into free agency, and they chose to pick up a replacement in Rainey, moving up in the draft to the number 8 pick to do so. All right, that puts the Jets on the clock. Picks are really flying off the board here early. So we've got a little bit of time here with the Jets user picks.
Now it's the Dolphins.
And then he picks Sterling Shields. He was a consensus first-round pick, outside linebacker from South Carolina. He's a linebacker that can kind of do it all. I'm going to skip the Dolphins pick because he's not here. We'll see what he does on his draft board.
The Cowboys now on the clock.
Wide receiver Terence Stackhouse to the Dolphins. Pretty good player throughout the scouting process. When you looked at receivers, he was one of the better receivers that were on the board in the draft. Now, the Cowboys on the clock, we're going to skip them as well because they are a CPU team.
Okay, the Eagles on the
They
clock.
take cornerback Enrique Harper. Now, Enrique Harper was ironically mocked a lot to the Seahawks, but the Seahawks, we know, took Safe Haven at number 2, which was, I thought, a great pick for them. But Enrique Harper, another talented corner for the Dallas Cowboys CPU team. Hopefully we can get that team filled. It's a pretty popular team, so I think we can probably find someone for those Cowboys who are still in pretty good shape if you know someone that's looking for a team in our league. All right, so the Eagles are on the clock, and the Eagles have already famously been mocked for not knowing the draft was tonight, so I don't know if he's online, but we'll let him, he's got another minute, so we'll let the time go because he is a user, and he may be trying to get on at this time. But so far, looking through the draft, I mean, here's what I'm surprised at. The user picks, now we have, some newer guys that have joined the league and taken some of the teams without good records, but a lot of the storyline players are still in play here. And if you're new to the league, you know that storyline players can be really good or they can be kind of blah. So I think we've only had one come off the board in Safe Haven, who I'll be honest with you is probably the best one of all of them. But there are still some surprises that I think are going to start flying off the board here if you guys did your homework pretty soon. It looks like the Eagles are not going to be here, so we'll skip them in the subsequent rounds going forward, but let's see who they take.
Now
And
the Dolphins are on the
George
clock.
Santos, defensive tackle from Auburn. I believe he was one of the top D linemen in the draft from the scouting process. So they're going to get an interior presence to go with Fletcher Cox. And it's going to make that Eagles defensive line pretty tough to handle. So we're going to skip the Dolphins again because they're not here. See who they take. They'll take Chris Richards from South Carolina, defensive lineman. Like I said, pretty strong defensive line draft. So the Dolphins pretty good picking up a receiver and a defensive lineman. Both of those guys I think are pretty talented. So that's a pretty good job for the Dolphins, especially for not being here. I think he did his homework and set his draft board, and that's a smart thing to do here, for sure. All right, we got the Bengals on the clock. The Bengals, they made a big signing in free agency at offensive line, and they picked up some other guys to kind of support what they're doing. They just missed the playoffs in the AFC, going 9-8 last year. They've got a lot of talent on that team. It'll be interesting to see which way they go here. I think they may try to. Oh, well, there's a storyline guy. I'll tell you about Coco Maserati. So I wish I would have been able to get these out because I had some fun thoughts on these. So Coco Maserati, the big thing with him is he's a tall receiver, but he has an ability of a smaller guy. He can play all over the field. I don't think I made his speed too crazy, though, so there was a little play on Maserati to kind of get you to bite that you were getting a speedster, but he is a very good receiver. So the Bengals will be happy with him. I'm kind of surprised because I felt like they had some good receivers already. So I think they were trying to play on getting a burner. He's good, but he's not super fast. So little bit of play with the name, is what I was thinking there. But he's going to be a very good player. And I don't know if Cincinnati's going to be the place where he shines because you got Jamar Chase there already. And you've got, I think, Tyler Boyd. You got Mixon in the backfield, so you're going to be pretty balanced with run and pass. But it's hard enough to defend them. I know because I played them in the last regular season game, and it was hard. It was hard when they go 3-by-1, and then you've got Mixon back there who was an absolute truck, and you put him in single back and spread the field. It was a good offensive scheme. So Maserati will help keep that field spread, and it may give them, even more dangerous, guys on offense. But if I was them, I would have went defense because defense wins championships, and there's a lot of good offensive players here. All right, the Ravens were not here, so they'll be going forward. They take defensive end Steven Chapman from Baylor. Once again, like I said, it's been good defensive linemen in this whole class. In Baltimore, picks up a good defensive lineman to help out their process, and hopefully he's been kind of MIA. So hopefully, I think isn't he the Australian guy? I think someone told me. I don't know. That was the first year where I wasn't really around. So hopefully he can get back in the fold. I'll reach out to him. All right, the Bears take Shelton, a middle linebacker from Oklahoma State. A mock draft had him falling to me at 27. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Not that he was going to be my pick, but I'm just telling you. He's the number one linebacker, middle linebacker in terms of speed, and he had a hit power. I remember that from the scouting process. So the Bears pick up a good linebacker for their defense, and that's what they do in Chicago. They're the monsters of the Midway. So we're going to skip the Bills because they're not here, but he set his draft board, and it goes to tight end Quan Bennett. Interesting. I didn't think the tight end class was that strong in scouting them, but obviously the Bills saw something in Quan Bennett that made him the number 17 pick in the draft. So the Vikings are on the clock. They're not going to be here. We're going to skip them and see what they take.
All right, now on the clock,
and they take quarterback Joey Reed from Arkansas. Joey Reed was another guy in the scouting process that was one of the top scrambling quarterbacks in the draft. A little surprised they go quarterback because they had a really strong season with Kellen Mond, of all people, at the quarterback position. So then the Chargers take William Alvarado, defensive end from Oregon. Like I said, this has been a strong class throughout the whole time. Looking at the, let's see here, looking at the draft here. So we're on the clock. So let's see what we're gonna do here because I have no idea. So we've set a draft board, and we obviously have our choice of offensive lineman here. I think that's probably what we're going to do because it looks like most of our other projection guys that were round one are pretty much gone. We needed some offensive linemen, tried to sign offensive linemen in free agency. So we're going to take an offensive lineman here. I just got to figure out which one I want. Fields, I thought, was a pretty good player, even though his stamina is F. Considering him, along with a couple other guys that are at the top of the board here, we've got Langford from Arizona State. That looks like he could be a pretty decent player. Don't know if he fits our scheme. We got Troy Reese right here. Really don't know much about him, although he looks like a power guy. We run an agile blocking scheme. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the right tackle here, Marquise Fields, and we're going to hope that he's going to be a good player.
The Lions on the clock now.
Hey, and we got a hidden development trait. All right. And you look at that speed, 76, and the agility, 71. That's awesome. The strength, 86. And we don't know his skills yet, but we got a hidden trait, and that's a big win for us. So just so you guys know, we did set our board to kind of trick people. We put quarterbacks up there, but we weren't going quarterback. We signed Marcus Mariota in free agency. I believe in Mariota. We're going to change our scheme around a little bit. We're going to do some fun things. So we were going offensive line the whole time. And we got a guy that I'm very excited about that's going to start and help solidify what we like to do on offense. We got the MVP and Christian McCaffrey. We got to get some insurance for him. And the best way to do that is up front, in our opinion. So Marquise Fields fell to us, and we are very happy with that pick. All right, so we got the Lions on the clock. I think he's joining us remotely, so I'm going to give him some time to see if he's going to make a pick here. And he does. And there is another storyline guy in Solid Snake, the center from USC. So the story on Solid Snake is he can do it all. Solid Snake was a play on the famous Metal Gear character. If you guys have played Metal Gear throughout any of your life, you know the name. The main character's name was Solid Snake. This is a center that can play in any scheme. He can play in the power scheme. He can play in the agile scheme, pass protection, whatever you wanted to do. He's going to be a very good player, and the Lions made a very, very good pick. Just so you know, I can't take my own players that I make and put in the draft. That's my rule. I don't think that would be fair. So that's why I don't touch those guys. Those guys are for you guys to enjoy and put on your teams if you want to, because there are some duds, and there are some duds that are out there. But no one has found a real dud yet. So now the Browns are on the clock, and we'll see which way they go. It'll be interesting to see what Lee does. I think Lee, did he make the playoffs? I don't remember. If you guys are watching, let me know if Lee made the playoffs. But I know I think they were in the division lead for a while, or they won the division. But it'll be interesting to see which way he goes if he's here. He may not be here, so time may run out, and then we'll see if he set his draft board. I see we got a lot of people watching, so I guess we'll have to do this more often. I'm going to keep going through round one, and then I'll end it because I'll have to really kind of get things going as far as moving the draft along. But looks like Lee is not here, so we'll skip the Browns going forward. But we'll see which way they go with their pick here. And we got
All right, on the clock now.
Peter Witherspoon. Oh, wow. Wide receiver, Mississippi State. Now, Peter Weatherspoon was a Madden in-game storyline player. It was a storyline where I think he underperformed at the combine, and he was kind of halfway going through his drills and everything. So obviously, Lee thought, taking a in-game storyline player may pay off for him, and it might. We don't know, what the Madden storylines do. I know usually if they mention somebody, it's usually pretty good, but sometimes you get a dud, and I wouldn't have taken Weatherspoon with that storyline. But it may be a storyline of redemption. You get those in there too. So, really interesting pick early in the draft at number 22. But the Browns got a receiver that can help them out. So, kudos to them. Lions are back on the clock. They moved down with that trade with the Raiders. When the Raiders moved up number 8, they picked up another first-round pick moving down in the draft. They did comment, I saw that they're going to move Solid Snake to left tackle. I think that's a good move. He can play anywhere on the line. He'll be doing a good job for them. So I believe they traded Taylor Decker to the Cardinals for a couple of mid-round picks. So that's a replacement for Taylor Decker. I thought that was a solid move for both teams. And the Lions take another storyline player in Joe Hughes. Joe Hughes is free safety from Fresno State. Joe Hughes is a pretty good player. Pretty good player. I kind of just made him pretty generic. I gave him a generic name. Not really a clue. You kind of had to do your homework in there, but I think scouting free safeties, he was the best free safety overall in the draft. I think there might have been a couple more guys that were more flashy as far as speed and, different skills go. But overall, Joe Hughes is an all-around good safety. He's going to a place where he's going to start immediately and play, and he'll develop. So I think that's a good pick for the Lions. Lions have got 2 good starters in the first round of the draft, and that's what you want to do. You want to draft starters. So, good job to the Lions right there. We got the Packers on the clock. Packers made the playoffs, lost in the first round. I think they lost to the football team. Is that correct?
Okay, here we go.
And they take Logan Canfield, defensive end from Fresno State. Good pick. Scouting defensive lineman. Canfield was one of the better guys. Like I said, it's a strong defensive line draft. If you need D-line help, you will get it in this draft if you did your homework. That's a good play. That's going to help solidify their front. I believe in, Strong's line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Green Bay's got some good talent already in the skills position, so picking up Canfield is going to help, that team in the right place. All right, Washington football team. I guarantee you he's going to take a storyline guy because I know his background. And he takes storyline guys every time he can get a chance. So I guarantee he's going to take one here, and it'll be interesting to see who he decides to go with moving forward. So the football team, I believe they made the second round of the playoffs. They lost to the Cardinals, I believe, in kind of a shootout game. They've been making a few moves here and there in free agency. I know they made a trade with the Broncos. I think they traded a D lineman and picked up, some stuff. And he does not. I don't think Curtis is storyline guy. So he takes Jake Curtis, linebacker from Texas. I'm trying to think, was Curtis, I don't remember much, but I think he was a pass rushing linebacker, if I remember. I may be mistaken, but Curtis was a pretty good linebacker. I remember in the scouting process. I think he was a pass rusher. So, the football team, that's a smart move because I think offensively they're pretty good. So they get some defense. I think they ranked 27th against the pass. I was on Daddy League, and for some reason I saw that. So going defense to help out is smart. And the Rams pick up Matias Enriquez. Once again, another good defensive line selection there and a strong draft. And we are back on the clock with our second pick that we got from the Broncos in the C.J. Henderson trade. So this time, we are going to make our second selection, and we'll see who's left on our board here. And we've still got some offensive linemen. We got a lot of offensive linemen. You know, this is working out really good for us because Lord knows we need offensive line help. So that's probably where we're going to go here once again. Just going through our board to make sure. There's a couple guys that I like here, but I don't like them at necessarily 27. Thinking about safety, but I've got two pretty good safeties that I picked up in free agency. They're veterans. We may draft one and slide one to a corner spot. But the offensive line talent is really strong for us, and I'm thinking about who we got up front. And we're probably going to go offensive line here. I just don't know if I want Langford or Reese. I think Langford looks pretty dang on good here. Reese, I thought was more of a power guy. And then he's got some flag issues, even though he's got some really good looks right there. I don't like guys that get flags up front. Hitchens doesn't look like a guy that I like. So we're going to go with Anthony Langford as our second pick here to improve this offensive line. And I'm happy with that. 93 strength with 72 speed, 77 acceleration. That's a big hog molly that we need. And I don't care about normal development because this guy is going to be a road grader. Impact block A, pass block power B, 93 strength. That's what we need up front. We needed some more big ass beef, and we got it. So we came in here, we wanted to get offensive line. We got offensive line. Very happy with that. Now the Colts are on the clock. And the Colts, had a pretty good season. They had Sam Darnold at quarterback. Sorry about that. But let's see what the Colts do. I made a trade with the Colts. We gave them Chuba Hubbard for, I think, mid-round picks. Oh, he's not here. That's right. He's not here. Let's skip him. That's why he traded that pick.
Okay, it's the Patriots.
And there's Troy Reese. So there you go. So great minds think alike. Getting more offensive line help, even though the Colts have a pretty damn good offensive line. Troy Reese, at 29, I think is good talent, good value right there for the Colts. So now the Patriots are on the clock. The Patriots lost in the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs. And we'll see what they do here to kind of supplement their roster. Not really sure which way the Patriots are going to go here. I think they could go a number of ways. There's some strengths. I don't think they're going quarterback with Mac Jones. And then most of the quarterback talent, I think, came off the board, pretty much projected where it was going to go. But
here we go. The Cardinals now on the clock.
Now I was thinking about Black. Black was the guy that I was considering along with the offensive lineman. But we have pretty good defense. Our corners are pretty good. And I got veteran safeties. That's why I didn't take Black. Black is a good-looking player. He's 6'2". He was the fastest safety available. I believe he had a hit power, thinking back through the scouting process. The Patriots are I think they're kind of a little bit older in the secondary, especially at the safety position. So that pick makes a lot of sense for them. I cannot believe I'm looking at the chat and there's no pictures of anybody. So going forward, we can at least take a snapshot of what pops up on the screen and post that, guys. But what we do after the draft is we do a draft recap show, and we go back and we look at the ratings that come up for all of the guys that are drafted, throughout, especially in the first round. We'll go through them and we'll recap, some of those players that we've scouted throughout the process. I saw the Patriots commenting that he was going to move Black to free safety. I think that makes sense with his size and speed. I think that's a smart move. So the Cardinals on the clock. They lost in the AFC Championship game. NFC Championship game. They take Brian Gillislee, defensive tackle from Oklahoma. Makes sense. Once again, the Cardinals have a lot of weapons already on both sides of the ball. So to fortify that, those lines of scrimmage where I think you win games, you win championships. Gillislee is a good player throughout the scouting process for D-line, and I think he's going to help them out a good bit for sure. All right, so the Chiefs are on the clock. The Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers, but we know the Chiefs have immense talent on both sides of the ball. They made some signings at free agency to help supplement some of those flashy guys that they have at the skill positions. So we'll see which way the Chiefs go here, and then we'll do the Bucks, and then we'll sign off for the draft commentary, because second round we'll start moving things along a lot faster. Remember, second round you get 1 minute to make your pick. If you do not make your pick in 1 minute, you will be skipped. It's not my fault. Please make sure that you're paying attention. We want to get things moving along as fast as possible throughout the draft process. And then remember, after this, we'll do draft recap show, and then we'll do 5-minute advances for preseason to allow you to get some XP. And then week 4, we'll stop from there. All right, the Chiefs take KC Sunshine, little linebacker from New Mexico State. KC was one of my favorite players to make. He is a good player. So, Chiefs, you can rest assured you got a good player, and I'll tell you his strength is tackling. His storyline was going to be he was born off of parents that loved KC and the Sunshine Band from the 70s. And every time he was a little kid, he would play youth football, and everybody would yell "Sunshine" when he made a play. So when he starts growing up and getting to high school, every time he makes a tackle, he says "Sunshine." So technically, Sunshine's not his real last name, but we call him KC Sunshine, whatever. All right. So the Bucks, last pick of the first round, they take running back Dallas Brigham from Alabama. Brigham is a storyline guy. I'm just finishing up before we move on here. Brigham's going to be a good running back. I'm kind of surprised he took a running back because, he has Jones that he does a pretty good job with, but Brigham, he'll be a good player. I don't think I made him too crazy, so thank God for myself. I have to try to stop that guy, but, excuse me, Brigham's going to be a good player for the Buccaneers. All right, so now we'll be moving forward. Remember, 1 minute limit on your picks. And then we'll be moving this thing fast because we got some CPU teams coming up. So we'll be back after the draft to do draft recap show. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.